can't ult unless he eats his stick charges.
He's going to have maximum 1 ult. He'll get 140 mana from bottle and maybe we'll assume a full stick. So he's going to get about 300 more. This could hurt him, at least in the burst opportunity. Big Daddy No-Tail just got stunned by Light Strike Array. Swindlemelons has taken some damage, but the rest of Cloud9 is pretty far away. The main damage dealer is Fada, and he's the Viper by the jungle. So I feel like this isn't very good position for C9.
No, Envy's not even there. It's a 5v4. Envy's back at the base without the gold for a TP.
Where's the other heroes? I feel like I'm missing. Oh, Misery's over here. He doesn't have a blink yet either, so I feel like Big Daddy No-Tail is just going to get blown up instantly here. Maybe even Light Strike Arrayed by Fly, and since Quap's mana is limited, I know Complexity aren't able to check this. They were the ones that paused the game, so they aren't able to click on enemy heroes like we can see, but right. C9 has the advantage of being able to do that to their opponents, and I feel like they're just immediately going to run as soon as they really look at things and say, all of their heroes are here. There's no way Swindlemelons is going to die in this first bit of time, because Wisp is going to save him, and we need to turn tail and run, because like you said, Envy won't get here in time, and Viper's already out of position.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. You cut your losses, let Big Daddy die. Misery about faces and turns the other way. So does Fata. They still have the mech available, and they hope that Z-Freak will be able to blink as he comes back down from the Yules. Looks like the blink will come up about half a second, maybe a full second after the Yules expires. So he'll have a short window to try and make it out if he doesn't get stunned.
Really unfortunate crash, though. Very few PC issues at the LAN as a whole.
That's a pretty cool. Well, it's also, I think that's the Stormbolt that's making all those little extra frillies around her. Yep. So it's kind of this cool. She's in Yules, but she also has this aura of what have you around her.
It was a great dodge, and he had to do it because there's so many stuns that it's scary. But looking at it now, it was maybe a little unnecessary and cost him probably too much mana. Because if he could have thrown the ulti, it still wasn't going to get a kill, I don't think. Their positioning is just too weak, but... I want to talk more about that gank that happened top, because I saw it coming and it looked really good by Complexity. Like, Moon is just sitting in trees. Any person they saw, blink, stun, relocate. And that's such a good combo. You need the setup, the stun duration to prepare for the relocate to come in. And the other heroes people do this with, it's like Nyx Assassin. But Centaur fills a lot of other roles, and it's a bit easier of a stun. So, but I think Bone 7 was ready for that, or he just happened to pop his haste rune because he blinked forward offensively into the creep wave. So that makes me think that he was baiting it because when Quap uses blink, you're like, oh, obviously go on Quap.
Yeah.
But immediately after, popped the haste and ran away. So I think that was just really sick play from Bone 7 there.
It seemed like it. At least it was on his mind that could be coming his way. So let's look at the graphs while we wait here. And, man, it's been a topsy-turvy game already. Cloud9 started off with a pretty big advantage, but Complexity's come back now to hold on to about a 2K gold and experience edge. Nothing too crazy, as it is tied up 12-12 in hero kills, but it just feels like Complexity are moving around a little more effectively. We talked about how far behind Envy is, but it's difficult. I mean, now he's gone for the Helm of the Dominator, pretty core item on Gyrocopter. It will allow him some recovery mechanism. Now you can dominate a creep, stack the Ancient so your supports can go in other places, find some efficiency there. It gives you a little more sustainability in fights, opens up some jungle possibilities for him. But it is a slow road to recovery here.
They just had very different ganks than what you normally see from a hard carry. And obviously they did start in the offlane, so usually the playstyle is different. But all of their ganks were so clean. The one they really needed was the Viper, and they rotated the carry and the Lina. And I like that it wasn't just the supports. They turned it from like a maybe gank into a if the stun lands, he dies, because Sven's damage is actually pretty good. So, and they just kept rotating him. And his CS looks terrible if that's 78.
There we go. The countdown. Does Big Daddy just play Sacrificial Lamb? He takes the Laguna Blade, and yeah, the rest of Cloud9 just hightailed out of there. Blink back from the Queen of Pain, and good prediction there, Purge. Transpired exactly as you said it would.
I read it. So Warcry's up. Look at the damage these creeps take. That's
Not
like 50
much
damage. That's 10 hits from a tower to die, and that's one of the best things about Warcry. Makes it so easy to push. C9 has pretty good counter push by using Scream, maybe Impale, and Gyro Flak or something, but the Flak, again, doing less. Like, it gives them so many good chances to just go high ground. Like, he Warcried this creep wave, and it's going to take forever to die.
Yeah, even just moving into the Tier 3, so I'll have to have fought to deal with it. Tier 2 tower down in the mid, and the rest of Complexity now rotate towards the top lane. Ziz and Z-Freak will move through the jungle. Bone 7 farming nearby. Can they actually catch him here? Nope. He'll just blink to the high ground and TP home. Nice heads-up play there. Misery did buy the Blink Dagger. He'll TP home as well.
Okay, that's really what C9 needs to score their kills now, because they were lacking that before. They didn't have quite the same mobility that Complexity did, and they didn't have nearly as many stuns, so it was always forced to be someone like Lion doing the rotations. And without Blink, Lion is actually a bit scary, because if you run into too many heroes, you're probably dead if you don't stun them, like we saw.
Yeah. Some more ward coverage here for the Dire side. Still continuing with their aggressive wards, and now actually putting a defensive ward down as well, which did come in handy as Complexity were rotating through their jungle. Let's take a look at Complexity vision now. They've got some deep wards themselves, very centered around this mid lane, looking at the Dire Secret Shop, the low ground near their Ancients, and also the mid here. So pretty good intel for the movements they've been making, and pairing well with this aggressive style they've had.
They do know that some of Complexity is in their jungle. They smoked in the enemy jungle to gank their jungle, but it doesn't look like they're going to find anybody. Complexity is kind of rotated away from it.
Yeah, this is a great ward right here. They can see whenever Envy or Fata most likely will be farming this big camp. Usually a spot where you feel pretty safe deep in your own jungle, but relocates are always a possibility if somebody gets a little bit low.
And that's the threat that Complexity has. C9 has to worry about constantly solo farming a lane, because if the Centaur is in the area, anybody can get solo killed, with the exception of maybe, well, not solo killed, but it would be a stomp into relocate kill. Viper's maybe a little survivable against it, but you got to get your timing. You have to pop your BKB or dodge that stun, and that's difficult.
All right, invisibility room picked up by Misery. He's just a couple of creep kills away from level 11. Big pickup for Lion. Mostly for that cooldown reduction on Figure. It goes from 160 to 100 seconds, but there's been an equally big pickup here for Complexity. That's the BKB on Sven. This next series of fights will be very difficult for Cloud9 to deal with that long duration bout of Magic Immunity. Misery scouting things out here, maybe thinking about a go onto Swindle Melons. It's getting pinged out.
He would need someone else to come.
Envy's pretty nearby here in the lane. They could actually try to set this up. They don't have vision on the rest of the Radiant squad, though, so it is very risky.
Like, they could try it, but there's always going to be a relocate if there's only two. They go on it. There's the Hex. Stun as well, and there's the relocate instantly. Swindlemelon's going to get his mech off. He's still alive, able to get out, and Eternal Envy's going to die.
Oh, it's a bloody disaster. Big Daddy comes in. He wants Swindlemelons. The LSA is there. It's a 3-0. They give him the Laguna for good measure. Swindle survives the assault. No.
How does this guy reliably stun No-Tail every single time? Man, like...
Well, they are ex-teammates after all. Maybe he just knows the way No-Tail likes to play.
Got his number.
Yeah.
Bone 7's pressuring the tower. Oh, gets stunned. Will he have the stun? He does throw the stun. Bone 7 right click, double edge, and that's another kill.
Great setup here. And that's an unstoppable streak going to Fly. This support Lina now starting to transition into a bit of a core.
Fly is so good, man. And this is how you have to play Lina support. You have to get those slightly, I'll say greedy, but it basically is... You have to use your hero to get those solo kills on the important heroes and transition to a core. You can't do the style where you go something like Medallion, Solar Crest. If you do that, your Lina is not that amazing. But if you get this fast Yules and this Arcane Boots, he's basically set on mana regen for the entire game. Yep. And he can just farm jungle creeps in an aggressive area and potentially set up ganks. And if he picks up an eggs at some point, man, C9 has got to deal with like 4 cores then.
Yeah, I mean, already they've been dealing with this Spirit Breaker so well from just the skill shot of Light Strike Array. Now you've got a Yules to stop him from charging and give Fly a super easy setup. So this makes the life of Cloud9 just more difficult in general. You've also got a counter initiation tool for someone like Misery. If he doesn't blink in and hex the Lina, there's always a chance that he could get Yules before he can get off his full rotation. Swindle with a completed SNY and another 1,400 gold to boot. Moon Meander closing in on a 4-staff as they take out the last remaining Tier 1 tower here for Cloud9.
And their survivability is still so good on Complexity.
How many double damage runes have there been this game? There's been at least 2 on Bone 7. I've seen at least 2 or 3 on Complexity.
Yeah, there have been quite a few. I agree with that. It's a really good rune here to get for Shadow Fiend, because that's a Tier 2 tower that's going to fall, because Complexity knows that they're not going to challenge them at this point.
Yeah, especially with still this fresh 10-second BKB. On the Sven that hasn't even been utilized yet.
You might find Moon Meander here. They didn't see each other this nighttime. Vision's a bit low. Setting up for the top Tier 2 defense. Fly's mana's also a bit low. 600 mana for him. He could solo kill Eternal Envy, I think, if he finds him.
This is pretty risky for Envy.
They don't see him.
Here.
The ward's on high ground.
Yeah.
He's going to see him now. They see Ancients are dying. Fly's going to collapse on that, I think.
He's got the daytime vision.
He's going to go for the... Oh, he's dead. There's the Yules.
Oh, well, it was definitely a risky play, and now it will... end with Envy in the grave. Unfortunate for him. I guess they're far enough behind that you can warrant taking some risk at this point.
Yeah.
But
he didn't buy out either, so any gold that he got there, he did prevent Sven from getting it, but he's not going to be there to carry his team in the late game because of deaths like this. Like, it's a Viper. Viper, if your team isn't stomping or in a moderate place, like, you need some bigger carry potential than just a Viper in the late game. Fada doesn't naturally farm very fast, so Gyro needs to snowball, and that just seemed like an Envy didn't know what to do thing or something. Like, he stole the Ancients, but it's in such a greedy place. Like, his team was kind of close by, but they weren't even close.
Yeah, not close enough to react to something like that once he gets caught by the Yules. Roshan will go down to Complexity. Nice easy kill there. It'll be Swindle that picks up the Aegis. And Z-Freak, man, this Wisp is rolling in the money. No boots, but he's got a Glimmer Cape already.
Yeah, really good item to have against C9. Anybody that line initiates on, bam, Glimmer goes on him, guaranteed. Maybe even a Viper Strike. They just have so many good ways to reduce the damage, and if C9 can't get that first kill, there's no way they get it. And there's not even a Dazzle. And now this IO scales so much better and so much more offensive.
Fly going to find himself in a world of trouble here, but nice Stampede from Moonmeander to counter-initiate. He'll get Yules, but Lion gets zapped down by the LSA. Big Daddy says, I'm out of here. He TPs home, and it ends as a 1-0 in favor of Complexity. Another failed gank for Cloud9.
Fly almost has Aghanims.
Yep. Well, with that one, yeah, now 500 gold away.
That's insane.
He is actually a core now. He's out farming Moon, who's become the 4.
I've seen very many core Lenas that have Ags and Yules at 25 minutes, 26 minutes, and he is almost there. And once he gets that, man, Viper's only got 1,500 HP. Fly's going to do, what, 675 pure with his ultimate now, and then as he ticks over to level 16, 950. Like, their cores are in such a bad place. Look at Swindle Melons. He doesn't care. He knows they have a huge advantage. He's behind the tier 2 tower, and they're just taking their outer towers, and they are preparing to just go high ground, and I think this is the push.
Yeah, Swindle going for a smart build here. Orbit Venom picked up the sign of a Scotty inbound. He's got 3,600 gold, and we'll have the big boy completed before too long, given that nice mix of survivability and utility in these team fights with that passive slow. Ziz also going for some armor here, probably an Assault Kuros to come out, but just the plate mail for now. Sven, very, very tanky, and I just don't see Cloud9 killing this guy easily unless they unload all of their ultimates on him. Maybe if he gets hit by the Sonic Wave, the Finger, and the Nether Strike, they can bring him down, but
they could, it would take a lot of magic nukes, and they'd have to chain stun him the whole time, because either casting Warcry or BKB is going to put him in a bad spot. So. Moon getting position set up on the bot tier 2. Big Daddy No Tail not getting spotted because Flies wasn't quite on the high ground, and he's going to TP out as well, so smart to do that. Once you go that far to squeak in, it's kind of difficult.
Envy is in such an aggressive position right now. He's got this Dire Wolf or Alpha Wolf with him to kind of scout things out a little bit, as well as the TP scroll.
I think he's just really scared. He knows that the opponents can kill him very easily. There is a Wisp, so he has to farm where he knows there probably aren't Observer Wards. And that's right next to the enemy team's base, so it may seem like a crazy thing here, but this is probably also the reasoning that he was going for the Ancients.
And they do also counter that ward that was just placed on the plateau, so opening up a little bit more space for Envy. It's working out so far, and he will TP out as soon as he sees some enemies inbound. He'll have to feed over his Alpha Wolf. A worthy feed there to make sure he makes it back to safety.
All right. So at this point, Complexity is getting very close to more major items. I think they're just going to spend some time farming because they know that in the late game they have a really big advantage with C9, against C9 that is. Shadow Fiend's going to have his next tanky item. That'll give twice as much HP as it would normally because he has an Aegis, so that's even more damage that C9 has to expend to kill him.
And Sven actually very close to the Assault Kuros, now just a Hyperstone away with 1,000 gold in the bank. Already has the recipe picked up on the courier, so perhaps they'll just let this Aegis expire, pick up the AC, and then look to take a team fight and possibly break the high ground. And maybe even before that, they smoke up behind the Shadow Fiend. They'll try to bait with Swindle. He's got about a minute and a half left on the Aegis, so it'll be expiring right as this game rolls over to the 30-minute mark. And Complexity will try to make use of it if they can.
And there's the Warcry, so 20 extra armor for Shadow Fiend in case he was hard to kill before. Such good synergy with that because so many SFs just build HP, and then you just get this free armor from Sven. And Sven is also still a very scary card. Almost an ulti from No Tail. He's just trying to bait out